From cheers of the fans to the crack of the bat, learn it all from Jimbo, Gabe, Mike, and Matt. Giving thoughts on all public teams, whether times are boom or if they are lean. Hero players that you should know, not only the good things, highs and the lows. Here it is, we're ready to go. Please enjoy the podcast. On with the show!
Hello, Pacific League fans, and welcome to the podcast, the unofficially official English language podcast of Pacific League TV. I'm one of your hosts, Gabe Lerman. Joining me in the booth is Michael Bealey. How you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm doing good, and I'm quite proud of myself because I finally broke down and got a notebook for all my Pacific League notes instead of using my endless growing Word document.
Hey, that's a nice change.
It's
Join
blue.
me in the scorecard club next time.
I have the one from the Hall of Fame. I just don't want to open it. It's all nice and wrapped.
See, I got the same one. I've just, already made a mangled mess of it. Unfortunately, the third head in our co-host Hydra, Jimbo Bernicki, is stuck in the shadow realm known as Finals Week. But we've made a call to the bullpen, and Matt Seivert will be taking his two teams in around the horn. With the slight rejig in arrangement, let's get right into our top story. Mike, what do you have for us this week?
All right, so this week, top story is more of a question. What is going on with the home teams this season? Only the Buffaloes are above 500 at home, and most teams are just downright bad at home. The Fighters are 2-6, the Marines are 1-7, Hawks and Eagles are 1-6, and Lions 1-4. It's
an interesting dynamic that the visiting clubs have just so much extra oomph this season. Do you think it just has to do with how cold the season's been, so people aren't used to playing outdoors for the teams that do that primarily, or vice versa?
I don't really know. I feel like the early season in Pacific League is always kind of weird with most teams kind of floating near or at the 500 mark. But I mean, the Marines play outside, and it's cold there, and they're 1-7. So I mean, I figured they of all people should be used to it, especially being by the bay. But I no idea unless there's maybe some excitement at the start of the season, and they're like, yeah, let's go beat them in their home stadiums, and like everyone's all excited about that. But I really have no idea.
Or some level of hometown jitters for playing in front of fans after the long off season. It's hard to say, but something we're going to keep an eye on as we continue on with the season. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into our Around the Horn segment, going through each of the 6 Pacific League teams from top to bottom and going over the top stories from the past week. Starting with a double up of me. The Oryx Buffaloes remain atop the Pacific League, going 4-1-1 since we last saw them, and maintaining a perfect 8-0 road record, which is an NPB record in the modern era to start a season. Part of the reason why they're doing that remains the offense catching up to where the defense usually is. 4 Buffaloes in the batting race top 5 right now. Ryo Ota, Yuma Tongu, Yutaro Sugimoto, who had a 2-home run day on Sunday's midnight matinee, and Ryoma Nishikawa. This is why the team's been so good lately. You pair that with the fantastic pitching from Aden Kuri and Hiroya Miyagi, and yeah, you got a recipe for success. Unfortunately, one part of that pitching staff is out for a year plus. Right-handed reliever Atsuya Kogita will be headed for Tommy John surgery shortly. He's joining Kosei Yoshida and Yuki Utagawa on the elbow reattachment list, as they also went under the knife earlier this season. Last season, in 13 games, he put up a 1.38 ERA, but wasn't available to pitch after interleague. Good thing the Buffaloes run a pitching lab. Andres Machado already has 4 saves on the season to lead the Pacific League, and Luis Perdomo's 5 holds also leads the PL. Heading way up north to Hokkaido to talk about the Nipponham Fighters. 4-2 since last week, so holding steady in the pennant race, 2.5 games back of Oryx. Lookout pitchers Chusei Manami is already using torpedo bats at batting practice. He was interviewed by Sports Hochi wielding one back on April the 9th. You can read that article and more at the pacificleague.com/en news site. I'm not going to stop promoting and shamelessly plugging our brand new English machine translation homepage. One way to end an infield logjam on the team made itself known. Cuban slugger Ariel Martinez is hitting the reserve roster with a right flexor pronator injury and will be out for 5 weeks. Given how important the catcher first baseman DH was to last year's lineup, it's an unfortunate loss, but you've already got Yu Yagunji, Kotaro Kiyomiya, and Yuki Nomura firing on all cylinders at first and third, so maybe some time off isn't a bad idea. Give Ariel a chance to recombobulate after a rough start to the season. And speaking of Gunji, that do or tie pinch hit extra innings home run was amazing. It's the first time in Pacific League history it's happened in a scoreless tie in extras. And then the next night, Kota Yazawa, the next two-way phenom the fighters are cooking up, joined in the fun with a walk-off single in the ninth. I spotted this on Instagram and I had to smile about it. I sent it to Mike as well. Four fighters players, Manami, Kiyomiya, Tamiya, and pitcher Hiromi Ito have recorded announcements for the shuttle bus that runs between Kita Hiroshima and Escon Field, Hokkaido. If you're going to visit, and I know a few folks are heading over to Japan at some point this year, listen for them. I particularly like Kiyomiya hamming it up with a proper "Minasan, konnichiwa, arigatou gozaimasu," and all that stuff, like really leaning into the announcer voice. And mark your calendars, Taiwanese baseball fans. CPBL MVP Ruiyang Gulin will make his NPB debut on April 23rd at home against the Rakuten Eagles. He's gone 3-0 in 3 farm starts with a 1.72 ERA, so I think he's ready to make the jump. Look for that game on Pacific League TV, FDF Sports, and Dingo TV, 5 a.m. Eastern, Wednesday, April 23rd. Mike, your thoughts on the two teams perched at the top?
All right, so quick question because I believe I picked Kosei Yoshida for a breakout season back in our season preview or one of our season preview episodes that we did. When did he actually get injured? I mean, I would
He's
not be surprised if he's ha has to get Tommy John. I mean, back when he was in the Koshien finals, he had like 700 and some pitches thrown over the course of a few days to get to the finals.
yeah, it was announced back on February 18th.
Oh, that'll teach me to not re read the news. That was well before we even did the episode, huh? Well, I hope to see him back better than ever next year. And on the Buffaloes, I am all for. I've said it a million times over the course we've been doing this, but I'm a big fan of Yutaro Sugimoto, and I really hope that we get like a repeat of like his 2021 season. That would just be really fun, especially after that 2 home run day that we saw live.
Oh yeah, another
His
big
second
Sugimoto
bomb
season
just
would be amazing. I also don't think Tomoya Mori's really gotten going yet, or was he injured? But if Sugimoto is providing the pop alongside Tongu and Ryo Ota, things are looking very good for the Buffaloes.
yeah, and it's just when we were doing that live broadcast, normally with the home runs, I'm sure you're aware, sometimes we really have no idea is that warning track power or is it gone and how gone is it? Because we're just working with the screens that we have. But I swear every time Sugimoto hits one out, it's just like I know immediately just from that one screen, like, yeah, that's gone or off the fence.
Yeah,
Probably one of
he
the few
definitely,
players that do that.
there's no cheapies when it comes to him.
And then I did watch that video about the recorded announcements. I think that's really cool. Did you see the Pacific League advertisement that Ito filmed?
The one where the steam blows out his nostrils because he really wants to watch Pacific League TV?
Yeah, and he's
Yes.
sleeping in a field for some reason.
Every single team had one of those. It's really neat.
It's just kind of, just always see when you see Ito on the mound, he just looks so like focused, and like, and even in his team photos, he looks so focused and like serious. And then you see something like that, and you're like, oh, that's kind of, I guess they do get all crazy sometimes. And something for
Let
you to
ball
look out
players be
for.
silly.
Something for you to look out for. I have this little keychain here. I'm not going to play it just because I don't know how the copyright works, but when you hit a button, it plays the train jingles from some of the JR stations. And when you press the off button, it tells you to please watch the door and that the door is now closing. For a
どうい
couple
た
bucks online.
します Kuchui
Yeah,
kudasai.
I hit this thing every time before I leave for work. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, I've got the whatever the JR East announcement noise is, that do 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 as my wake up alarm for the weekends.
Oh, that's so nice. I have those. I have the freaking crosswalk bird in my head randomly at times.
Basically, go visit Japan and you'll be infected like we are.
Never ends.
We'll hand things over to Matt Seivert for the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks, who sit in third this week.
Yeah, let's talk about the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. And everybody was doom posting as soon as they started 1-6 because this team couldn't start 1-6. Jimbo's prediction that they would go wire to wire, aged like milk. They're back to 500 by winning 5 in a row, although they just dropped today's game in extra innings, so slightly below 500 again, but only slightly compared to how it was. I'll say that's probably okay for now. They are currently 2 back of the Fighters. The Hawks, ladies and gentlemen. We knew they had so much talent they couldn't possibly screw this up, and they found a way to screw it up at the very beginning of the season. Well, seems like they're about to be back now. Congratulations and banzai to Ukyo Shuto. He stole his 200th career base in only his 603rd game. By the way, that number against only 42 caught stealings. That's a really good ratio. I mean, if he wants to lead NPB all time, he only has 865 more to catch Yutaka Fukumoto. I mean, we'll never put it past him, but at some point the wheels are going to slow down, so we'll see what happens. But his ratios, I don't know how it compares to what Fukumoto did, so, it's going to be interesting to see. Hotake Yamakawa, despite a slow start, is now up to 4 home runs on the season, which I believe is one of the best numbers in the Pacific League, if not all of NPB. Yep. He's good.
Returning to people actually in the booth, Mike Scott, the Chiba Lotte Marines, who sit in fourth. Please go ahead.
It's been a minute since I've had to go forth. That's kind of odd. I don't think I like that. Hopefully that stops sometime soon. But for the Marines, 0-4, thanks to a sweep and a sea of rainouts. They are now a game back of the Hawks in fourth. They are 2-8 overall in their last 10, which is the opposite of good. But in some fun news, a fun pop-up store is coming to the Zozo Marine Stadium. Zozo Studio Coffee Stand in Chiba, back to 1995, is the theme of the coffee stand, and you'll be able to buy shirts, bags, and stickers commemorating the team's retro alternate for the season. And if they're going to do retro alternatives, I really do hope that one day they are able to go back to those 1980s Lotte Orions jerseys, because those are so nice.
Go back to those, but recolor them in the black, white, and
Oh
alternate
yeah,
hot pink of the Chiba Lotte Marines. That would pop.
I'd pre-order that. The Marines lost 3-9 today to the Fighters, and I was actually up early for once in my life, and I was watching the game. And just a couple of notes: it looked promising after the Marines had scored 3 runs in 5 innings. It kind of looked like they were. I don't want to say they were going to put the Fighters to bed that game, but at least I thought it was going to be better than it ended up. And then the Fighters had a 8-run 6 inning, and I don't really. I mean, Atsuki Tanaichi was pitching, and I've always been high on him. I don't really feel that this start, and I think his last one was didn't go the way he wanted. So I don't think either of them are really his fault. I kind of feel that Tanaichi's kind of like a modern pitcher, and he's pitching in a system that the MPB pitcher's always kind of a throwback. They're always kind of expected to go that 7-8 innings. And I swear every time he gets to the fifth inning, it just kind of always falls apart. And I feel like Masato Yoshii is always, I guess he's got like a bit of an old school mentality to him, and he just always kind of leaves him in for far too long. Maybe it's that old let him wear it mentality, because it just keeps
Maybe he
happening to
doesn't believe in the third time through the lineup penalty.
yeah, and it's just like, how do you let him give up that many runs? Because like I would think maybe going into the fifth, if this keeps happening going back to last year, you'd maybe have some action in the bullpen, and like we can't see, the bullpens are underground, we can't see them. So I mean there could have been somebody up, but just for no one to come in and take the ball after all the hits that he gave up and everything, I feel like this game could have been a lot closer than it really was. I mean, I think the fighters probably still would have won regardless, because one note I have here is that Hiromi Ito's fastball looked scary today. It clocked in at 93, 94 miles per hour, and I swear you might as well have been throwing 100. The thing looked crazy, it had a crazy movement on it. But yeah, well, I just I don't know. I just kind of feel like there could be a bit better management on the pitching side of things so far, and that might contribute to the state that the Marines are currently in now. But early in the season, and I think that they will bounce back to at least third place. But we're just it's all speculation from here on out.
I mean, that's why we watch the games. Speaking of
Yeah.
watching games, Matt Seivert's been doing that for the Saitama Seibu Lions. Let's kick it over to his pre-recorded segment.
And now for the Saitama Seibu Lions. With a 3-2 week, they're not in the basement. Only one game out of a postseason spot. As happy as I am for that, I have to say, small sample size. But one very unfortunate news coming out of the week. Seiya Watanabe is hurt. Dude was leading the batting title race as a rookie, but he had a right ankle sprain after the game on April 12th. He injured it running the bases. He's expected to recover in about 2 weeks, so it's not the end of the world. He might still end up qualifying for the batting title, but it's not great in the interim. I suspect that a 3-2 week or similar will not happen without him in the lineup. But good news is Tyler Nevin is heating up. He had his first 3-hit game for the Lions on April 13th. The Lions, most of the people we think about are the pitchers. And Tuchihiro Sumida, there's a reason he's included among them. The Southpaw got an 8-inning shutout performance against the Fighters on the 12th, the game that Seiya and Watanabe was hurt. But that game was so bad for the Lions offense that he didn't even get a decision. Such a shame. I believe it went into extras, if I recall. With that, Sumida's ERA is now at 1.2, which is second among all starters, just ahead of the Buffalo's Aren Kuri, and behind rotation mate Tatsuya Imai, which has a minuscule .75 ERA. Just wait until he starts walking batters again. Also, another pitcher of the Lions that we have to pay attention to, it's time for the Kona Takahashi watch. He started today. He still hasn't received a win in over a calendar year. 13 consecutive losing decisions, which it already takes getting a decision in the first place. That is the worst in club history. I wonder if other clubs have further worse ones of ineptitude, but that's neither here nor there. He gave up a single run today. Where is all the run support? Oh, it's the Lions offense. I think that answers the question. We'll see what happens. If Nevin can stay hot when Watanabe is back, and Leandro Cedeno starts hitting home runs the way we know he's capable of, I mean, this is something that could brew, but we're going to be watching Kona's every start until he finally gets that elusive win again.
Yeah, it really is an issue with the offense. Kona Takahashi has not pitched poorly. He's just gotten basically zilch run support. You got to feel sorry for the guy.
He's one of my I'm always a big fan of pitching and pitchers, and he's one of my favorite pitchers in the league currently. And it's just like, how do you have the Jacob deGrom effect that hard? Like, not a win in over a calendar year. It's just like that's just insane to me. Like, how does that happen? Especially for a guy that I think last season declared that he had MLB aspirations, and it's like after he said that, it's like everything has just fallen apart.
The baseball gods are fickle in some ways. Equally fickle, our resident sixth place team, the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. Mike, how did they get here?
Okay, so for the Eagles, they've lost 6 in a row after getting swept out of a homestand by the Fighters and the Buffaloes. First time in franchise history that's happened. They failed to score more than 2 runs in any game. And I guess the cold Tohoku air probably cooled off their bats, but they won today in Fukuoka, so there is some positivity there. Earlier today, infielder Hideto Asamura hit home run number 299 off Livan Moinello to tie it up in the 6th inning. Next one is a big milestone, 300 home runs. So, where does he fall in the active home run leaders, I wonder? I have to look into that. And
I just remember that there's only been 47 players who have hit 300 or more home runs in NPB. So he's reaching some rarefied air, possibly getting into Hall of Fame territory.
Yeah, I mean, is Nakamura on the lines? Is he probably the active leader in the PL,
Oh,
I would guess?
absolutely. He's up at 470 something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I mean, without looking into, I'm going to assume that's one and two right there. But yeah, hope he can get up to that 400 mark next. But looking ahead to sunnier summer days, Eagles announced their summer uniforms for this season, and they are going to be giving away a few thousand in July and August. They are magenta in color, and if you can't make it to a game, just give it a couple weeks and go to a book off in the off season, and I'm sure you'll find a bunch. They permeate book offs all over the country, even in places you didn't think a team would have any fans. It's the weirdest thing.
So that's how I keep getting them on eBay. Some
I
intrepid soul.
a game I went to in 2019 when I was leaving, I ended up with like six of the giveaway jerseys. People were just giving them to me. I don't know why.
All right, I found the list of active players. So, Takeya Nakamura tops 471.
Mhm.
Second, Sho Nakata at 303.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he is I mean, he's been out of the PL for
A
three,
few
four
seasons
years
now,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you don't see him that often anymore. So I completely forgot where he was.
Yeah. And then Hideto Asamura just outside of like the top 45. When he gets to 301, he's tying Big Bad Vladimir Ballantyne, and the Burning Man himself, Nobuhiro Matsuda. So he's got a chance to get a little bit higher up in the list before hanging up the cleats. Hall of Famers in front of him include Hideki Matsui at 332, Alex Ramirez at 380, Koji Akiyama at 437. Okay, that's a stretch, but yeah, there's a chance that this is his ticket to the Tokyo Dome basement.
And even if it's not, that's just really good company to be in right there. It's a lot of really good baseball players we just named.
Hmm. On that note, let's get into an inversion of the usual familiar faces. In particular, because specifically.com posted this news article about guys who wore 42 in NPB in honor of Jackie Robinson Day, which is when we're recording this. Because 42 is not retired league wide in Japan, it gives players over here a lot of opportunities to wear a number that they normally can't. So there are a number of active players who are wearing 42, and Yuri Sabala on the Fighters, Bo Takahashi for the Lions, Brian Sammons for the Marines, Andres Machado for the Buffaloes. But I wanted to do some remembering some guys with you, Mike, and let me stop me if any of these guys leap out to you as, oh yeah, those. So Jose Fernandez, not the ex-Marlins pitcher, the third baseman, wore it for the Marines and then won Best Nine for the Eagles wearing it in 2006. He's the first individual award winner in Eagles franchise history. Frank Herman, who put up 66 holds and 19 saves for the Eagles, and then another 47 holds for the Marines, and has since become a coach. Alex Cabrera and his massive, meaty arms for the Lions. 357 career home runs for the Lions, Buffaloes, and Hawks, along with two rings, 2002 MVP award, and five best nines. Craig Brazell wore it for his one season with Cebu, in which he hit 27 home runs and won a Japan Series ring in 2008, and then played a couple more years with Lotte. CC Mercedes for the Marines. Dan Serafini wore it for the Marines in 2004 to 2005, picking up a ring in the process. Wiley Mo Pena hit 32 home runs for the Buffaloes in 2014 wearing the digits, after playing for the Hawks and before playing for the Eagles and Marines. One guy hit four of the six PL teams. And for the Hawks, I think one of the better players in the bunch, Julio Zuleta, with 145 career home runs between the Hawks and Marines, winning a ring in 2003 with Fukuoka. So I guess you could make a case that the best number 42 in NPB history was Cabrera, with Zuleta maybe a backup choice.
I would say, yeah, that's probably got to be the list right, the one and two right there. Just looking at the names, Frank Herman, I completely forgot he was with the Marines, and I guess that might be the whole pandemic era thing. I guess I just forgot because I had to double check on that, and I was just, yeah, 2 years. I completely forgot about that. Now that I looked into it, I did remember him wearing 42. I mean, I didn't know Bo Takahashi wears it. And I remember Pena. I don't remember. I wasn't watching actively back then, but I do have some cards with that on there. And Julio Zeleda, I obviously didn't get to see his career when he was active, but I've seen highlights and I have a lot of his cards. And yeah, that dude was an absolute monster. And I've used his character card in the mobile version of Pro Spirits, and that every time you get one, like on like a foreign OB draw, if you ever played a gotcha game, it literally just demolishes baseballs.
I mean, for 3.5 seasons, he was a face of the offense for the Hawks and the Marines. I also didn't notice he's quadrilingual: Spanish, French, English, and Japanese, just because
Oh,
of his Panamanian heritage and where he ended up playing.
I wonder if there's any interviews floating around of him speaking Japanese. I know I found a couple other players before. I'd have to look into that. I always like seeing that.
I mean, he also participated in the 20th anniversary OB match for the Hawks earlier this year, so maybe there's some clips of him there. I think he actually won that game's MVP
Just come back out of retirement for an OB match and just continue to demolish.
and then disappear once again without a trace.
Be
No
back 10 years
comment.
later for the next OB match.
So that'll bring us to our question of the day, from us to you and us to ourselves. Who is your all-time favorite foreign player in the Pacific League? And Mike, you know who I'm going to say, right?
I know who you're gonna say, and I personally do believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame as well, but he is kind of controversial like that.
Justice for Tuffy. It's Tuffy Rhodes. I own a Kintetsu Buffaloes road jersey with Rhodes 20 on the back. It is one of my prized possessions in the Pacific League merch closet.
Did you have to get that like custom ordered, or did you find like a throwback like one from back then?
I found one from on Mercari. Like it's a legitimate
Oh,
2000-ish 2002 era road jersey.
that has to be hard to find. My God.
Yeah, it took me and someone on the NPB Discord like months to
Hmm.
track down, but I finally found it, and I am $100 cheaper or lighter in the pocketbook, but I got
Oh,
it.
that's all. That's it. That's actually a steal, I think, because I've seen other players go for way more.
Yeah, I gotta hang on a sec. I gotta look up in my
There was a pop-up shop in Tokyo, one of the stations last year and the year before that, and both times they were out of my size in the Kintetsu hats. Oh, that
yeah,
was
it is a
that,
shame because like we there's clearly such a love for that team and its look, but because Kintetsu continues to own the rights to the logo and the look, that's why they're so hard to come by.
it was
I
kind of
mean,
weird being in Osaka and riding the Kintetsu line because I remember just being like, I know that name.
yeah, that sounds familiar. My bad. It was $140 Canadian, 15,200 yen.
That's still better than I what I expected, honestly.
Yeah, I'll shoot you the link online as we wrap up here. And wait, well, what's your response?
I'm torn between two players. Historically, I have to go with Charlie Manuel.
I
Phillies
know you have
manager,
a
World
soft spot
Series
for that
winner,
guy. Yeah.
and just the whole. I have a magazine from Japan with him on there in the football helmet get up. I have it signed and everything. So like, I mean, that whole Akaoni era, that's so cool to me, especially in that Kintetsu uniform, which we just talked about. And then the other option is Alfredo Di Spagna, just because right as I was getting into the NPB, he was active and just destroying baseballs. And I don't know, I just always liked his play style. He always just seemed happy. Like he honestly, like when he played, it didn't even seem like he was trying, and the game was just so easy to him from an offensive standpoint. Like he could hit a home run just by like poking at a baseball on the ground with like a toothpick, I swear.
184 home runs, 545 runs batted in, four Japan Series title, two best nines, and led the Pacific League in home runs and RBIs in his first season in Fukuoka. That goes on top of some Pan Am bronze medals and Olympic silver medal in 2008. Guy did well for himself.
One
Good
of my
choice.
first times watching the Pacific League playoffs, it was the Hawks against the Fighters, and Uwasawa was pitching. He had already loaded the bases, and it was like first pitch, he just demolished it and sent it into the stands, and immediately the Hawks had a 4-0 lead. It was crazy.
Question of the day: all-time favorite foreign player. Ooh. Well, I've got two things on the brain. Number one is that my NPB fandom has not been terribly long to this point. I only watched my first game in person when I revisited the country in 2020. I want to say that was 3. Obviously started doing this last season. So on those merits, I'd be tempted to say somebody like Bronmil Reyes, just because he's such a joy of energy to watch when he's making vibes in the clubhouse. He's trying to use the native language to congratulate his teammates when they do well, and just generally like a terror for pitchers to face. The other thought I have is Vladimir Valentin, the legendary. He did play with the Hawks for a little while. I had to check that because I wasn't sure if it was our league or the other. But he was a legend of NPB, such that I understood that he was a legend in NPB before I followed the sport. So there is that.
I'm curious to hear what your answers are going to be, so sound off in the chat or in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube-y stuff. Jimbo will be back with us next week as we pick up another week's worth of memories in the Pacific League season. You can also catch Pacific League games live as they happen on dingotv.com or on tape delay at FTF Sports. And our next midnight matinee is Saturday, May 24th at 12 a.m. Eastern, Friday, May 23rd at 9 p.m. Pacific as the Hawks host the Buffaloes in Kumamoto. Thanks for spending time with us, folks. We'll catch you next week.